To escape a police arrest, he casually threw away a bag of flour. It happened to land right in the arms of an 80-year-old grandmother, and the police didn't even see it happen. Just like that, the grandma got 5 kilograms of flour for free. But afterward, instead of calling the police, she actually took the bag back to the gang. At first, the gang members thought she was trying to blackmail them, but she claimed she didn't want a single penny. She just wanted to ask for a job. It turned out she wanted to join the gang too, to sell flour just like them and make a little extra spending money. Seeing that the boss looked down on her, she immediately promised that she could definitely handle the job. She explained that most gang members were under police surveillance, but thanks to her age, she wouldn't draw any police attention at all during a deal. Hearing this, the gang boss thought it actually made a lot of sense. So without another word, he cut off 1 kilogram of flour for her and gave her a half-month trial period. He said that if she could sell it all during the trial, he would not only hire her as a salesperson, but also give her 30% of the profits. The grandma agreed right away. But what the boss didn't know was that before long, this ordinary-looking old woman would become the top seller in the entire gang. When she got home, she began cutting up the bag of flour, planning to break it into smaller pieces to sell. Little did she expect that this stuff was as hard as a brick. No matter whether she used tools to smash it or a saw to cut it, she couldn't budge it at all. It wasn't until she used a heavy meat cleaver that she finally managed to chop it into pieces. But just when she finished bagging everything up, a new problem popped up. She had left the gang in such a hurry that she forgot to ask about the price. To figure out the market price for this stuff, she immediately went to ask her son-in-law, who worked at the police station. But asking directly was obviously not very wise. So using the excuse of wanting to learn about his daily work, she asked him to show her around. Her son-in-law didn't think much of it and happily led his mother-in-law to the evidence room. Right there, she got her wish and saw the exact same kind of flour. Once she figured out the price, she lost no time in taking action. She immediately went under an overpass with heavy foot traffic. Sure enough, relying on her age advantage, her goods were snapped up in no time. When she handed all the earnings over to the gang, the boss was instantly left speechless in shock. He had never seen a salesperson sell things so fast. True to his word, he gave her 30% of the profit. Seeing that she was a top-tier seller, the boss gave her even more goods this time. Seeing this, the grandma couldn't stop smiling. Just as she thought she was about to reach the peak of her life, a drug-sniffing police dog on the street smelled the stash right after she left the gang's hideout and started chasing her. She was scared out of her mind. To avoid spending the rest of her life in prison, she had no choice but to run for her life without looking back. But at her age, how could she outrun a police dog? The next second, the dog bit right onto her bag. Just as the secret inside was about to be exposed, her son-in-law surprisingly showed up just in time, allowing her to narrowly escape. Afterward, he kindly helped her carry the bag back home. As soon as he left, she couldn't wait to cut up the flour. The next day, she moved through all kinds of crowded places. Locations with huge foot traffic were not only convenient for making sales, but they also didn't raise suspicion. As time went on, she quickly rose to become the biggest local supplier. Meanwhile, other young hoodlums couldn't sell their stuff at all. Filled with hatred, the thugs shoved her to the ground. They didn't just steal all her bags of goods, they also brutally beat and kicked her, warning her that if she dared to steal their business again, they would break her legs. Having just tasted success, she was unwilling to give up. Seeing that selling outside was no longer an option, she had to think of another clever trick. She had a sudden idea. She cracked eggs into the flour, started mixing, and then added a few dark secret ingredients to bake it into small cakes. To test if this would work, she immediately invited her 3 best friends over to try them. To her surprise, her friends praised the cakes for tasting amazing, and not long after eating, they were all buzzing with energy. Realizing that these cakes were a hit, she worked through the night to make a huge batch and took them out to sell the next day. Seeing that she was selling cakes this time, her competitors didn't make things hard for her. Because she had built up a huge customer base before, and because she offered free samples before buying, her entire stock was wiped clean in just one morning. Right after, she brought the money back to the boss. But this time, she demanded a higher commission rate, simply because the amount she sold in 3 days was almost equal to what others sold in a year. Seeing that she would quit on the spot if he said no, the boss had no choice but to agree to keep his star seller. He then handed over another massive load of stash to her. Because her cakes were laced with the flour, many people became addicted after eating them and couldn't wait to buy more from her door. In just 2 short days, she sold out all her goods once again. The boss was completely shocked. He couldn't understand why his young, capable men couldn't sell anywhere as well as an old lady. Seeing how useless his goons were, he promoted her on the spot to be his exclusive agent and gave her 8 whole kilograms to sell all at once. After getting back home, staring at the pile of flour, she realized that one person's power was too small. To make it big, she had to hire some extra help. Thinking of this, she invited all the street thugs who used to bully her to her home to discuss a partnership. At first, the thugs didn't take her seriously at all, but the moment they tasted her cakes, they were completely won over. The cakes were so addicting that the more they ate, the more they wanted. Realizing she really had real skill, they decided to work with her. With more hands on deck, her cake business boomed even more. People lined up every single day to buy them. Even though she worked over 10 hours a day, demand still outpaced supply. Having no choice, she called her 3 best friends over to help. As her cakes were sold further and wider, the customer traffic kept growing. Once people tasted her cakes, they lost interest in any other food. Because of this, she helped the gang make an absolute fortune. All the gang members even came over to act as her delivery drivers. Her incredible sales ability caught the attention of the top gang chief, who then met her in person. The chief was very curious about her secret to multiplying sales tenfold. But how could she reveal her secret? Seeing this, the chief didn't push her further. After all, she was working for him anyway. But the next second, he made a crazy, terrifying suggestion. He ordered her to sell the cakes to schools because kids love cakes, and that way they would grow up to be his loyal customers. She wanted to refuse right away, but the chief's words were an absolute order that allowed no backtalk. This left her completely at a loss for what to do. When she went to pick up her grandson from school the next day, she was horrified to find one of her own cakes sitting inside his backpack. It turned out the chief had already reached his claws into the school. This crossed her line. She decided to quit then and there and never make that harmful stuff again. She then took her grandson on a trip to travel around. But how could the gang let her just walk away? When she returned from her trip, she found her house turned completely upside down. Before she could even react, gang members grabbed her. This was the gang's doing, meant to give her a threat. To force her to keep making the flour cakes, they kidnapped her grandson, threatening to send him away forever if she didn't obey. Just at that moment, the doorbell suddenly rang. It was her police officer's son-in-law coming to visit. Learning that a police officer was at the door, the gang members started shaking in fear. But right then, a wine glass accidentally dropped to the floor. Realizing that bad guys might have broken into his mother-in-law's house, the son-in-law began kicking the door without hesitation. When he broke into the room, he found that the gang members had already fled. Seeing the messy house, he thought she had been robbed and was about to call his colleagues to investigate. However, she stopped him frantically, claiming she had made the mess herself and telling him not to worry about it. She then pushed him out. She knew her grandson was still in the gang's hands, and calling the police would drive them to harm the boy. At the same time, she had a plan of her own. To rescue her beloved grandson, she called her best friends over. Armed with a few toy guns, they stormed straight into the gang's hideout. Seeing that she was holding an assault rifle, the gang members were scared out of their wits and didn't dare fight back, immediately ordering their men to release her grandson. Right at this critical moment, one of her friends messed up. Only then did the gang boss realize the metal guns were just toys. Just like that, the ladies were tied up by the gang. The boss threatened her to keep making the cakes, or he would end them right there on the spot. This time, she refused to cooperate even if it cost her life. Furious, the boss was just about to shoot when a red laser beam suddenly targeted him. The next second, a large team of armed officers burst in. It turned out that her son-in-law had long noticed her unusual behavior and had been watching her secretly in the shadows. By coincidence, he ended up busting a whole drug lord hideout. Even though she had helped the gang sell goods before, considering that she turned her life around at the last moment and helped the police bust the drug hideout, the court reduced the punishment for the ladies after careful consideration. After getting out of prison, she and her friends went back to their old trade and opened a genuine cake shop in town. Having gone through that wild experience, they never dared to add bad ingredients again. And with that, the story comes to an end.